Welcome. Welcome to Convocation. We'll do it in reverse order. So I'm going to go ahead and start with my State of the University, if that's okay with you all. Is that good? And that way we can make sure and get to there. All right, cool. Now, I'm a walker-talker, so I'm probably going to come out here a little bit since we're going to be looking at a lot of data on the screen and a lot about what we're facing, the challenges, but the opportunities. And so if you don't mind, I may come join you out there and walk, and I won't jump, but I'll come around. I'm actually very proud of myself here. This is my skinny suit. Okay. The first month in the job, I lost 8 pounds. I've been gaining a little bit back, so I won't jump because it's still a little tight. But I'm trying to make, all right. So, but I do want to introduce you to my wife. She's right down here. If you all haven't met Jane, love my life. We'll be married 24 years, September 2nd. And so this is Jane right here if you haven't met her. Yay. And she gets to hear me say all this stuff twice today, so, feel for her here. But great to see everybody. We got some more seats, so we got enough room for everybody coming in. All right, awesome. We got some people arriving. We'll get everybody going. So what I wanted to take us through a journey today, and a little bit, first start with, what's been really exciting for me 4.5 months in. It's kind of hard to believe that it's been moving that fast, and here we are, the beginning of a semester. 4.5, and along that way, I've had the question a lot, what have you learned? What do you think about Georgia Southern? And the first thing I tell them is the people. The people are just phenomenal, amazing, dedicated, and they're here because they believe in a higher calling. They have chosen higher education because they believe in the transformational power of education and that purpose, that direction, that calling that is placed in here. We know it's not the money, but what we do know, it is because you feel like you can have impact on others along that journey. And so we're going to talk a lot about that, and we're going to talk about evidencing that, holding ourselves accountable as leaders, and communicating effectively and transparently. So today I'm going to take us through topics. Our institutional strategic plan. I want to thank Helen and Julie Gersh for their incredible work. Over 1,200 people were part of the strategic planning process to write our strategic plan. So I'm going to update on you on that, take you through what we're doing through our scorecards. If you've all, I'm sure, have looked at what we sent out Monday, right? Yeah, well, you did it. All right. Hey, thanks, Ronna. You're excellent. And we're going to talk a little bit about culture around that and what it means and how do you bring a strategic plan to life, and particularly at the centerpiece of that is our vision, people, purpose, action, growing ourselves to grow others. I'm going to talk, about the budget. But we have to talk about it. And what you're going to learn about me quickly, if you haven't already learned in 4.5 months, is I want you to lose the same sleep I'm losing. Because I believe in the collective wisdom and intellect of you all together. Shared governance on steroids, that together we can solve our issues that we face, our challenges. But I'm also going to give you some hope as we're working our way through it and the ways in which we'll work our budget plan to ensure that you're all part of that in those decision making. I'm going to talk about the comprehensive administrative review, what it is, what it isn't, and what the next phase of it looks like. And then this trio of groupings here is really one thought: strategic enrollment plan, marketing, branding, and academic regional plan. That is, how do we ensure that we are never in enrollment decline again? Because we don't want to be there. But what we have to have is a regional academic plan that's fitting the needs of a region, that are timely and timeless in terms of what we're delivering to our students and what the region needs from economic development and talent development. But then we need to tell that story through a strategic enrollment plan through all the constituencies and markets, dual enrolled, first time in college, transfer, graduates, non-traditional, across the whole spectrum, and have targeted approach for that. And we've developed the beginnings of this strategic enrollment plan that we're going to frame out for you. And then we have to tell that story in branding and marketing. So those three go together. They're intertwined. They do not stand separately, because really the academic program and plans is why you come here. And then the rest of it is telling that story around it. So then we'll talk about inclusive excellence, how critically important that is to the environment that we establish on our campuses for our faculty, our staff, our students, and the communities we serve, that we can have impact on them as we move forward. And then, of course, commencement. We got to talk about commencement. We're very close to a decision on what we're going to do. I'm going to tell you about that process and when that's coming. And then I want it to be a bit of a town hall so I can hear from you if you have questions or comments. If there's something I'm saying during it, because I talk fast, I wave my arms, I get excited. If there's something that doesn't make sense, raise your hand and go, well, wait a minute, Kyle, what's about that? And let me explain that a little deeper. And we'll go there. And then hopefully the bet is that I can't finish in 40 minutes. So everybody get comfortable. You just ate. I can just see it about 30 minutes. But believe me, I'll try to entertain you enough while I'm giving you open communication of where we are and where we're headed. So let's talk about this. All right. What I love is I asked University Communications and Marketing to give me one slide for the entirety of the strategic plan, all of its values, its pillars, and the vision statement. Didn't they do an incredible job? I just love that. So when you look at this, you see the outer concentric circle. Those are our values: collaboration, excellence, innovation, integrity, inclusion, sustainability. What does that mean? It's the way in which we'll behave, the way in which we'll treat each other. Caring probably be the centerpiece of that. Look, we are all human beings, and all we really want in life is to be valued and to be relevant and understand that we're making some impact in what we do every day. And the way we treat each other in this process, in our time here with all the challenges we have, if we don't get that right, then why in the world would you want to come to work every day and be part of Georgia Southern? But if we can embrace that and understand that we're going to care for each other, we're going to collaborate, and together we're going to solve the problems that are in front of us, be innovative, have integrity, and follow these values, I think that can be the mantra in which we move forward. And how do we then execute what is a strategic plan with 5 pillars? Student success being at the center of it, teaching and research, inclusive excellence, operational efficiency, effectiveness and sustainability, and community engagement. Those pillars and the objectives and the action are the framework. They're the map. They're what sets us in a direction and a trajectory. But it means nothing if all we do is make a really pretty brochure of it and a pretty slide with a graphic. And that strategic plan gets put up on a shelf. And then, every couple of years we pull it out, we look at it, let's just see if we actually did any of that stuff. Well, that's what normally happens in higher education. When we are going to press into that and make it every bit of us, of who we are every single day, our behaviors, our actions, and our accountability as we move that way, and we measure towards success of the strategic plan. So at the center of it is a bold vision, because it's aspirational. We aren't there yet. So what does people, purpose, action, growing ourselves to grow others really mean? So people, as I said, the extraordinary part of Georgia Southern and its over 3,300 employees and 26,400 students are the people. Your talents, your abilities, your intellect, your dreams, your aspirations, whether it's a career here that you've chosen because of that passion, that belief that you have a purpose in your life of what you're trying to achieve. Well, it's our goal throughout the entirety of this process of our strategic plan that we invest in you, your journey, like we invest in our students. Because I believe if we build an environment where you're in a constant state of growth and development, you're going to be a better faculty member. You're going to be a better staff member because you're going to care and see yourself in that, and you're going to be aligned and part of the impact of having impact on others. So people, investing in people, their continued growth and development along their journey here. Purpose. That you understand how important you are and the purpose of which aligns with your own passions, whether that's research and crustaceans, all the way to whatever it may be, making this the most beautiful campus it is, from every shrub to every field. That you have a purpose, and those actions that you have every single day as part of that job, that opportunity, they feel aligned to what is helping the institution to grow and to move forward. So grow is an interesting word. Grow is a word that we use a lot. We can be quantitative. We have key performance indicators that I'll show you in the scorecard indicators. How we measure success. Grow can be quantitative. But I want you to think of growth as a constant state of improvement. A constant state of obtaining knowledge, of discovery, of being a better iteration of yourself, personally and professionally. and finding that and pressing into that and identifying that. We're going to invest in that. You're going to see a faculty edition of development days through the Center for Teaching and Excellence. It'll be an innovation and pedagogy day here in the fall and in the spring. You're going to see full-day retreats for the staff, a staff edition, where they can have workshops in a conference-like atmosphere where they can be developed. We just had our first Leadership Development Institute of 64 of our leaders on campus, senior leaders, to help them be more effective leaders, to help me grow, and all of my cabinet level people grow and be more effective in reaching your needs and helping you realize that. That is growth, purposeful growth, pressing into constant improvement. But it's not just for our own sake. It's not just because I want to be better husband, father, president for you and learn along this journey with you. It's because I want to have impact on other people. My legacy statement is to joyfully and enthusiastically embrace the journey of self-growth so that I can impact others and help them grow. That's what I wake up every day wanting to accomplish in some way. And it means I don't know everything. If I'm the smartest person in this room, we are doomed. I promise you. But what I do know as a musician is collectively, I may play my one instrument, my one voice, but collectively you all make the orchestra and the symphony. And together, we bring that together. We can truly accomplish more than we ever thought we could individually if we come together understanding for that greater purpose. So our vision statement, people, purpose, action, growing ourselves to grow others, is the culture at the center of all that we're trying to achieve within a strategic plan. So why do we invest in people? I simply believe that engaged faculty and staff, that's you, is critical to creating an environment in which students can succeed inside the classroom and in life. If we create this environment, can you imagine what it's like for a student to attend Georgia Southern University here in Statesboro, Savannah, or Hinesville? They're going to know, wow, this is different. This is a different place. They care for each other, they're working hard to improve themselves, but they want to impact me. That's incredible if we can achieve that. And to create engagement, we need to ensure that all of you understand your value. As human beings, all we want to be is valued and be relevant. The bottom line, right? I just want to know that what I do matters in some way. And so for that, we have to then align it to what we're trying to achieve as an institution. So when we think about all of this from a cultural aspect, we're going to use the word performance excellence and sort of brand it and bring it all together. I know there's parts of performance excellence that give you a little bit of PTSDs when it's budget and car and other things, but it all means we're in a continuous improvement cycle as we move together. So what is it? It's a movement that promotes an environment in which all individuals know their roles and responsibilities in achieving this aspirational vision, and it is aspirational. We aren't there yet. So when we think about that vision, people, purpose, action, growing ourselves to grow others, this is really the primary point. Do you know, is it so clear in the unit, department, or wherever you work on this campus that what you do, you know exactly what that is? It's so clear what the expectations of that responsibility of that job is. If you don't, we aren't doing a good job, because that should be so clear that you know exactly what you need to be successful, and we need to spend the time and energy to develop you to be successful in that, and constantly have that exchange of dialogue so there's never surprises. If an annual evaluation is a surprise, we have failed. It should never be a surprise. We should be helping you be successful along that way. And then, not only what to do, but why in the world are we doing this? Why does it matter? Whether it's research, whether it is helping us with everything we do operationally, whether it's a bursar's office, whether it's admissions, whatever it may be. Why does your job as an individual help your unit, your division, the institution succeed? And why are you so critically important in that? And what indeed we intend to accomplish, and how you as an individual have a stake in helping further that holistically, institutionally. And this is the last sentence that I think is really critical. We all have to be engaged. I want to hear critical thoughts about what I say, what we're doing, where we're headed as an institution. But here's the caveat. You got to bring a solution. Use your intellectual energy to provide solutions, not just the water cooler. Well, I don't know what they're doing over there, but it ain't good. That doesn't help anybody. If we want to improve, if we are truly embracing improvement and continued growth, then everyone use your intellectual energy and that same energy to then help us be better along that journey. So How many of you saw the email Monday I sent out? I know email is such an incredibly effective way of communicating, isn't it? Not so much, but it is what we got right now, other than when I can get in front of you and talk to you like I am today. How many of you actually got into the portal and were able to look at some of the scorecards? A few of you? Great. Please do, because that is your way to hold us accountable. So how do we evidence this? This is all great theory, but if we aren't actually practicing, and if I'm not holding myself accountable, and if my vice president's cabinet level aren't holding themselves accountable, all this is just a big show. So what we have done is develop then, in essence, our 8 to 10 most important goals aligned with the strategic plan. So when you look at one of my scorecards or any of these, you see all the different divisionals. Academic affairs, that's Carl Reiber. Athletics, that's TK. Business finance, Rob. Communication marketing, John, etc. All the way down, there's mine. You open up mine, you'll see my 10 goals, each weighted to its performance. Then you'll see the alignment on the left-hand column with the strategic pillar. And then if you click on that, what's really cool, and I love what Ron and his team has done, I get really excited about that, is now you click on that and it opens up and then it has the objectives, the pillars, the objectives, and the actions under each of those that are directly influencing or indirectly influencing the outcome of that key performance indicator. Then it shows the measurements, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, of what the scores are from a data standpoint, a measurement standpoint, whether a percentage or a number of what 3 is our goal, 4, stretch goal, 5, big, hairy, audacious goal, 2, needs some improvement, 1, oh my goodness, what has happened? Okay, all in a measurement. And then finally on that right-hand column, when it's going to be measured and how. Because I know that's a question. Well, how do we know that's the real indication? Well, because they're either iPads or there's something else we have to report to the system. So we'll hold ourselves accountable, and you'll need to see that. You'll even get to see from a faculty staff equity standpoint what our goals are next year, quantitatively, what that's going to mean. Because I've put that in there as my goal. Look in it. Then the other neat part is you get to go in and say, okay, well, those are the goals for the whole year, but what are these vice presidents and cabinet people, what is Marrero doing every day? We've also shared with you our 90-day actions, of which I'm holding my vice presidents and myself accountable. These are what we're tactically doing, aligned with the pillars, aligned with the key performance indicators on the scorecard, to then accomplish the full year goals along that way. And it's very tactical, but then you see progress on each of those. At the end of the year, as we update that progress, as we assess, then we finish the fiscal year, we'll have all our scores, we'll know how we went, hit a button or two, Ron tells me it's magical from an IT standpoint. Then we get an entire annual report, all the way led from the accountability of each of the vice presidents who owns that key performance indicator and the success of that. But what I can tell you is, any of these goals, do you think they can be accomplished by that vice president or me alone? No. When I have total headcount and total credit hours generated in academic year 2020, I'm going to do everything I can to help everyone else be successful. But I've declared it as how you should judge my performance as your president. So that's how we're holding ourselves accountable through the next year, and the year after we'll cascade this through the entirety of the organization. So that clarity of what the expectation are, what the goals, what we're trying to achieve as an institution will be out there not only internally, but then externally for our stakeholders, our legislators, to know how we're holding ourselves accountable along this way. I'm really excited about this. I hope you are too. Excellent. So, well, here we go. All right, that was the inspiration. Here's reality. Y'all ready? All right, this is budget. This is what happened already. That started July 1. This is exactly what you saw in the email that we sent out at the end of April after we got our allocation, where we were landing. So there's no new information here other than the very last bullet. But I want to go through it because some of you may not have read that email or know exactly what happened this last year or are trying to realize now, why is my budget less than it was last year? So let me reflect and tell you what we had to do and where we were facing. If you remember, we had enrollment decline from fiscal year 18 to fiscal year 19. In fact, 1,200 students, 22,000 credit hours. That equated $13.1 million of recurring tuition revenue, of which we had to then cut. You can say redirection, reduction. We had to cut from our budget because we did not have that recurring money anymore. So as we went through this exercise and we looked through all of the opportunities of which how we would be able to do that and then also invest in our people, first we really needed to know that we could deliver all the curriculum we needed. to make sure we weren't cutting our nose to spite our face. We needed to know we would deliver the processes, the support for our students, advising, counseling, all the different areas we knew would have the most impact on our students. We needed to know from an operational standpoint, could we keep the institution running? This giant city, this corporation that we run in essence on a day-to-day aspect. And so through that, there were 195 positions identified that were already vacant, that those searches had been frozen. It was assessed 43 faculty positions, 152 staff positions. And in that assessment, that ended up making for about 11 million of our reduction dollars. Then we looked at where from an operations standpoint can we assess. We were able to find another 12 million recurring. So we landed about 23 million. Then we had a 2.5% undergraduate tuition increase, if you remember that, starting July 1 for this next year. That equated for us another 2.6 million of revenue, of which we could book for this year. So we came to a total with those savings of $26,400,000. We had to fill our $13.1 million hole, and so we had $13.3 million to invest. So where did we want to invest first? In you, our people. We had done our faculty equity and staff equity salary studies, and we knew we had to address this now, because this was how we would retain, recruit, and keep the very best people here at Georgia Southern and all three of our campuses. And for us, it was a big ticket item, $6.5 million, $3.8 million for staff, because it took $3.8 million recurring to get our staff to the entry point. The entry point of the 17 pay bands, not the median, not a percentage of the median, just the entry point. That's how far we had to go. Pretty horrific, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, that's not a good story. It's good that we invest in it, but it's not a great story, and it's something we have to keep moving for. Faculty, $2.7 million. To get faculty, all faculty salaries now are at 90% of the Coupa peer, but the base now, we had to get to a base that would be equivalent, and that base is 70% of the Coupa median as a floor. That's terrible. And it took $2.7 million just to get faculty to that. So that shows you how, at least as a stepping stone of starting to invest and show where we would invest and what our priorities would be, $6.5 million. The next number, 1.5, what is that? That's $500,000 for our promotion and tenure of faculty, assistant associate, associate to full, etc. That's an annual cost. We have incredibly successful faculty that go up to their next rank, and that is a recurring cost we always are going to have to sustain centrally. So that was $500,000. Then $1 million was meritorious increase, because if you remember, the state of Georgia, thank you legislative delegation for your support, and governor, legislated and funded a 2% meritorious increase for state employees. Well, they only funded it 75%, so it was a $4 million, in essence, expense for us to do 2% merit, and we had to come up with $1 million of it. The state provided $3 million. So that's the $1.5 million. Make sense? So we put $8 million out of that 13.3 in our people directly. $3 million more from the state, so July 1 there was $11 million of equity and merit salary increases to you, our people. Now, we got to keep moving in that direction, but at least it's a start. It's a start. Very proud of that. Then we invested in our student success, enrollment, growth, and retention areas to ensure that our students, through their processes of financial aid, registration, admissions, could be more of a one-stop shop concept, at least make it as streamlined as possible. We invested in counselors, psychiatric care for our students. We invested in the $567,000 that was reduced in phase 2 of e-tuition differential reduction that was operational money within the departments that created the credit hours of e-tuition differential at the undergraduate level, and we gave them that money back at $567,000. And so that's the area where these dollars ended up going for that 2.67, at least the big ticket items. And then finally, we knew this was a 2-year issue, because if you remember, once, yes, we had the tuition that we lost this year, heading into last year into this year, but then we also have the allocation from the state that lags 2 years behind. So we knew we'd have a budget allocation reduction based on formula, and I'll tell you what that is in a minute, so we wanted to get ahead of that. So we wanted to put aside, in essence, an unallocated reserve to get ahead of that. We put $2.6 million aside. Now, through the meritorious process, we were able to fund some of those positions meritoriously from auxiliary revenues for auxiliary employees, so we were able to save another $600,000. So right now, we have $3.2 million already set aside recurring to help us through this next wave that we're heading this next year. Okay, everybody understand our picture? All right? I know. Smile a little bit. We'll solve it. Okay, that's my promise. Here we go. So this is what we're going to do this year. You've already received the information. How many of you heard, at least from your division or some level of supervision within your division, of the budget process that we're launching that has already started here this month in August? Raise your hand if you've heard. Okay, good. If you haven't, you need to be letting your supervisor, whoever your unit or department is, because you should be part of that process right now, and I'll talk about what that is and what it looks like. Our goal is to build a budget prioritization process that fosters your engagement and our transparency. Your engagement and our transparency. To align requests with strategic plan and outcomes, anything you ask for that's a needs assessment has to align with what we're trying to achieve, either unit, department, division, institution. And then most importantly, communicate prioritization and decision making at all levels of the process. I'll go into that more, but this is critical, that last bullet. It can't be what is happening over there with the vice president and presidents making those decisions, No, decisions of prioritization will be made all the way through the process and shared back with you, so you know exactly where that is and who is prioritizing that and how. Let's see, there we go. Uh-oh, I hit the magic wrong button. Can you get me back up? So then the next part of this is where we are strategically in terms of this fiscal year 20 preparation for fiscal year 21. So as we look at that, did I kill the whole thing? Can you all get my PowerPoint up? All right, good. So what it's going to show you, hey, look at that, it's magic. So that's where they give me technology. That's a problem for me. All right, here we go. So where are we? What's the issue? The issue is, as I said, fiscal year 18 to 19 enrollment decline, 1,200 students, 22,000 credit hours, allocation formula funding. That's an estimated $7 million reduction in our allocation for fiscal year 21, starting July 1 of 20, right? So that's what's facing us right now, what we have to do. Now, the good news is we've already set aside $3.2 million, so we have a $3.8 million hole to work through this year. Far better than 13.1, right? But that, you all have to know this straight out. Lose the same sleep I'm losing. Together, we're going to solve this. So, what are we going to do then strategically in terms of our investments beyond finding money to cover and ensure that we are a balanced budget? Is our people again. Clearly, when you eliminate 195 vacant positions, you do the best to assess what impact they'll have. Through the assessment of each of your units, you're probably going, okay, you know what? We can't live without that position, and we need it back strategically. And so as it's prioritized through this process, we'll look for those critical positions from an operational or a curriculum delivery standpoint that we have to deliver our promise for students. And those will be funded first so that we can ensure we can continue to deliver our promise to our students. And then continue our investments in salary equity and merit. Now, merit is only applicable if it's appropriated by the state, that we come in with a match, but here with the equity, we want to keep moving. In fact, if you look at my scorecard, this will give you a great excuse to actually go to the portal and look at the scorecards. About halfway through, you'll see faculty, staff equity, my 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 goals for each of those, the dollar amounts and what percentage that brings in, so you get an idea of the type of recurring money we're going to need to, in essence, do this next step and phase of faculty and staff equity. Ultimate transparency. You're going to know exactly where we need to hit, and we'll give you reports along the way. Now, our only new recurring funding sources, just so you understand the reality of this, is growth. Growth this fall, spring, and a little bit we just had this summer into next summer in June. Growth is the key for new money. Not only from allocation standpoint, a year later, but then right now as we move into fiscal year 21 and start to plan there. The other is a very, very small consumer price index tuition increase, of which the Board of Regents has that authority. We do not. And that'll be a decision that they make sometime in April. I don't know where that's going to land. They just did 2.5%. Affordability, accessibility to our university for our students is critical. So we take this very seriously, and we do not want to raise tuition if we have to, because we want to continue that access point for our students along that way. But those are only new revenue sources available to us. So that's how we begin to solve this. All right, so what's the timeline of the budget process? You should be in it already. If you haven't already, begin this month at the unit and department level, academic, non-academic. You should be then talking, your department chairs, your unit managers, and those levels, be talking about the needs assessment. How are you doing? What do we need? Are we being able to deliver the curriculum based on the growth or where we are with our students? Do we need additional hands on deck for whatever may be operationally, whether it's admissions, whether it's grounds, whatever that may be? What is that necessity along that way? When those decisions are made at the department, center, and unit level, with faculty and staff engaged, whatever is prioritized, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, will be shared back with you. So you know exactly how it was sent up to the next level. Nothing mysterious about it. You know exactly what the prioritization is. That's the exercise here. So we model at each leadership level accountability where decisions and prioritization is made. And so you understand and know fully where we are in that process. September 1 to 15, deans, directors, AVPs of the college major units, non-academic units will do the same process. They'll also be looking for redirection opportunities to solve some of their own needs, but then also help us to find savings. Any decisions or prioritization made by September 15 at that level will be shared back to the organizational structures throughout. So you know exactly then what happened to those requests that we saw prioritized at the end of August. And so you'll know where do they land when it was mixed up then with the remainder of those departments or those units within a particular organizational level. Then September 16 to 20, vice presidents, divisions will do the same exercise. When they finish by October 1, you should be getting an email from each of your vice presidents knowing exactly the prioritization of those needed positions or operations and or where we see opportunities for redirection. So then when we finish the budget narrative on October 23rd, you'll be able and welcome to, we're going to post it, send it to you, 60 plus pages usually, to help you sleep at night, and then you'll see page by page exactly and line by line what our prioritization requests as we submitted to the Board of Regents. Transparency. The best way to build your trust is to show you everything that we're doing. Come April, once we know the allocation, what the legislative process was, etc., we'll do the same thing. So this will be our budget for fiscal year 21. July 1 of 2020, you will know line by line exactly what we're doing and where we had to make savings. You may not agree with the decisions. That's what I can't promise you, that you will agree with all the decisions, but at least you'll know exactly what they were and why they were made and know exactly where that is. That's my promise to you. So, comprehensive administrative review. This is not a budget exercise. I know it feels like it and you see a dollar amount there. That is a realization of a lens when you put comprehensive administrative review over ensuring on everything that is non-direct instruction, all our operations, functions, administration of running an institution, where when we came up with that $23 million of savings, that fell into it at $19.7 million, and that was through strategic reorganization, modification of processes, and annual expenditure assessment. So when you see that number, when we shared that with you and that information, that's not on top of it. That's another lens looking at it from an operational efficiency and effectiveness standpoint through the comprehensive administrative review process that helped us inform those decisions and the outcomes. Now we have to assess it. I mean, I'm sure all of you felt like post-consolidation, every decision made in that was perfect and needs no further assessment. No, we have to continually assess the decisions we make operationally along the way and improve those and raise our hand when we said, well, that was bonehead, that wasn't really the right thing we did there, and fix it. That's what we have to do. And that's what the comprehensive administrative review does. So our areas of focus for this year, heading into fiscal year 21, will be 4 areas. Human resources, incredible people, dedicated people. We want to ensure that all our processes are streamlined along that way, so we're more efficient and effective in all our HR processes. We'll be working on that. Administrative support. Post-consolidation, it became very apparent to me looking at the inconsistency of placement for administrative support and where it all landed. You have some entire colleges with 1 admin support. And then you'll have another place that has 2 or 3 that sort of kind of left through reorg, and so they may have some capacity. We're going to assess all that, and not to looking, and hear me, we are not looking to eliminate positions. We are not looking to eliminate positions. We're looking to ensure that we're covering the needs of administrative support through the entirety of the institution. And so for that, as we assess this and find out where there's capacity, some people may have to move. Not city, but move in terms of a divisional structure to help support where there may still need some additional support. That's the truth of what that process will be as we move forward and look through the administrative support process of how we can be more equitable across the entirety of the institution. Budget management, same issues. And then this last one, campus events, logistics, great people, incredible dedicated people at each level that you intersect for and with, right? You want to use this ballroom over here, all right? You call, right? You make a call, is it available? You check the schedule. Oh, and I'm going to need tables. Well, that's a different call. You know, I need chairs. Well, okay. I need linens, you know. Oh, I'm going to have food and beverage. Well, that's a different. So we want to streamline that, one-stop shop for anyone internal, external, so that at the end of this year, we'll have a one-stop shop concept for anyone that is using our facilities where they can get all the information and just make that as effective as we can along that way. Great people have been doing it all. We want to help them so that they can all be streamlined and connected together. So that's the comprehensive administrative review, what it's going to look like this next year. All right, so this first bullet, just to give you an update where it is, and I want to have a lot of caveats. Did Scott make it yet? Enrollment team, okay. He gets nervous when I talk about enrollment. So this data, this first bullet that you see right here is from last Wednesday. In fact, later this afternoon, we'll have the update for this Wednesday, date to date, days out from start of classes. As of last Wednesday, it looked really great. 2.72% in total head count up, and in credit hours. Why are credit hours important? Not to be mercenary, but that is our funding. Head count's wonderful, but it doesn't mean anything if we don't generate more credit hours, because the credit hours is how we then actually collect the revenue, and it is actually how we're a funded formula. So credit hours is really the coin of the day for us as we look at it from a budgetary standpoint. So when you look at this, we're up 1.23. Now that's a week old. What we are projecting is a 0.7% growth, so just slightly less than 1% growth, but that's a far cry from 4.7% negative from last year. So we think we've righted the ship and moving in the right direction. But how do we ensure we are never in enrollment decline again? Everyone say that with me. Never in enrollment decline again. Now, say it with some heart. Come on, wake up. It's post-lunch. I know. Never enrollment decline again. We can't be there. So how do we do that? We have to look at our regional academic plan and ensure with that regional academic plan that these are market-aligned programs that we know will draw market, that will draw those students. Gallup poll that came out 2 years ago said the number one reason a student and a parent is selecting a school is career choice and opportunity. Now, 1970s, it was so I could understand myself more in the global world around me. But right now, that's what it is, okay? Now, that doesn't mean, hear me, I'm an arts and humanities guy, okay? You know, I believe you need content, absolutely, but you better have some context around it and know how to communicate and critically think, and that's what arts and humanities does. Amen to that. Arts and humanities folks, shout out. Woohoo! All right, good. All right, so there we go. Thank you, Jane. All right, so as we look at this, it is that regional academic plan, that driver, the programs that they choose, why a parent student. But if they don't know about that opportunity through a branding and marketing campaign and a refresh, and I can tell you, Georgia Southern has not been competitive in the marketplace from between what we do for advertising, marketing, and that's changing. We're going to spend twice as much on that this next year. We have to, because that'll be our generator for students to come and our yield rate at the end of that. And then a strategic enrollment plan that looks at all those constituencies of which we have to serve, that we have possibility for market and students. That's dual enrollment. Freshmen, that's going to be a bit of a struggle here for these next 3 years. As a demographic, FDIC 18-year-olds as a population goes down in the state of Georgia. So we'll do our very best just to even hold market. We may even lose a little bit of that FDIC population. We've got to make it up in dual enrollment. We've got to make it up in transfers, which we are. We're up in dual enrollment. We're up in transfers. We got to make it up in non-traditional, adult, and military. We have to make it up in graduate. We have to make it up in online students. And we are in all of those constituencies except for freshmen right now. So it's modeling exactly how we knew it would, but we're hitting our targets in those areas. And my hat's off to the enrollment team. But that's what the strategic enrollment plan will drive. The branding and marketing will tell the story, but the story is our academic programs that drive. That's why people inevitably come here to transform their lives through education at the end of it. So, as we move forward, inclusive excellence is going to be a critical part of it. And not only is it a strategic pillar in our strategic plan with key performance indicators, and you'll see in each of the scorecards that each of the scorecards and my vice presidents have professional development criteria, and part of that percentage has to be in diversity and inclusion efforts. But we have Dr. Williams' report. We're just going through it. We've reviewed it at each of the different levels. PDAC has reviewed it, and we're going to send it out to campus next week so all of you can read it. 60 pages, no big surprises in it. It's a good reflection of where we are and the struggles that we have on our campus in this part of the country. So here we are with it. It comes back with 7 recommendations to be implemented over 3 themes of which we've organized, and our goal is to implement them here in the next 18 months. The first is the personnel. We're going to do a national search for an Associate Vice President of Inclusive Excellence, our Chief Diversity Officer, which we don't have at this institution. That person will report to me, will be on cabinet, and will have tie-ins directly with all of the constituencies we serve organizationally. The Office of Multicultural Affairs, HR, throughout the entirety of the organization, will be able to inform and help and direct our programming, our development, our environment on this campus as we build that out. Then, at the same time, we need to define, besides our strategic plan, which does a great job, and the pillar, and the objectives, and the actions within that, but what is our diversity statement of this institution? What does it mean? Who do we aspire to be? What do we stand for in an inclusive environment? So that's going to be done. PDAC is working on a draft of that for me. We're going to align it to our strategic plan and our key performance indicators, and John and his team is going to have a broad-based communication plan for not only our institution, but for the communities in which we serve. And training and professional development through HR, Rebecca's team is helping us through that. Then implementation and culture is critical. And for us, then sometime in spring, then we will have, with the new CDO on campus, a climate survey. We want to know where we're benchmarking and how do we measure progress to hold ourselves accountable. And then throughout the entirety of the organization, within 18 months, there'll be tethers and lines through every bit of our organizational structure that are helping us to further inclusive excellence on this campus. So that will be how that is then moved forward. Commencement. My first 90 days were so much fun. It really was, actually. So, 15,000 signatures before I got here. I mean, commencement was a big deal. It has incredible traditions and legacy here. And the people that did great work in the task force, and I want to be positive to the work they did. They're looking at an institution with 4,000 degrees conferred at one time in spring, and how do you pull that off? Any other institution this size does it in college ceremonies, and those can be incredible, wonderful ceremonies. So we did our best to pull off 9 commencement ceremonies in 2 cities over 36 hours. Hats off to those people that did it. Thank you. So we do what we do in higher ed. Let's assess it. Let's get some feedback. 2,500 people were happy to give us their feedback. And most of it was creative and language I had to look up, but it was good. And then focus groups, SGA, faculty, staff, alumni, college, university, ceremony work groups, dean's council, cabinet, but really all of that to get the input of what the experience was, the positives and then the challenges, but then logistics is where we focused also, and safety, and the actual ability, the feasibility and sustainability of pulling this off every single year. And that's when it really became tough, because as we think about it, we are so limited. Other than Paulson Stadium, we have nothing in this entire region that seats more than 6,000 people. That's it. We just are, from a facility standpoint, we have no ability, and we're sort of boxed in on that. So what we really are trying to focus on is the experience. Who is it most important to? Obviously the students. It's a culmination of their studies. It should be a time of celebration, a time of family, alumni, of community to come together, parents, all to be there. And we have to do it well enough that we're out of their way and they can experience it in a way in which it builds traditions and connections to the institution. Because sure enough, I want to come back and ask them when they're really successful for money. And I want them to have a great experience out of this. So at the end of the day, that's our focus areas. Now, we think we have a plan, and it's being fleshed out and put together, but we felt like because of the end of the semester, we really owe it to the students, and we have an SGA meeting on the 24th, and Scott and the team are going to take it to them, the recommendations, to get feedback, because we feel like the students need one more engagement on this, because it is about them. And so our goal is September 1 to then make sure everybody knows what we're moving forward. We have the dates. Select already, no surprise on the dates, exactly when you thought it would be, that Friday, Saturday final. So it's going to be in there somewhere within that, in whatever agglomeration of ceremonies that we come forward with. Scott, did I say anything I shouldn't? All right. The one thing I will tell you is absolutely it is going to have to be ticketed. That's the one thing that there is no way we can't just say anyone and everybody show up and because we can't promise you can get in, and that's the worst of experiences. So we're going to have to figure out a quantitative way in which, and that's analytics we're doing now in terms of the various ceremonies. So that's where we are, decision in a couple of weeks. So how do we get there from here, where we are today? It's going to be messy, folks. We aren't going to be perfect. I'm going to learn and grow with you. We're going to get news from the Gold Dome at times, or from the Capitol, that is a surprise to us. External things may be happening globally. They may be happening in the state. They may be happening right here in Statesboro, Savannah, or Hinesville. But we got to embrace that disruption and be okay with it. And what we really have to do is focus on that continuous improvement and the belief in the transformational power of education. That will see us through. People keep asking me, Kyle, how are you going to unify post-consolidation 3 campuses? Well, what I know is we have incredible people that all believe in this, that all believe that they can impact people's lives through the transformational power of education, and to grow ourselves in this journey together so we can continually achieve that. So this year our challenge is to model, communicate how all this fits together, right? How does all of performance excellence start to become part of our culture of people, purpose, action, growing ourselves to grow others? So the way to communicate this, and this is a word I'm going to use a lot because we don't communicate particularly well in higher education, and we have to work on that every day. Top, down, bottom up, middle, everybody. I give you permission to cascade everything I've said today throughout it. Try to say it correctly and semi-accurately, but this is what's important, to get this information and to communicate all that I've talked about today. It's the way and the why we do what we do. It's not in addition. It's a new lens that has caring, collaboration, and investment in you, our people, as we move forward. So as we think about all of this and what it means to Georgia Southern University, the bottom line of it all is we must embed all of this in the normal life of the institution. And the ultimate why, as I started with, we believe that the more you're engaged, that we will be able to create an environment in which we know students will be successful. So when we think about that, we need to ensure that all of you understand your value, your importance to our success. You matter in every way. So people, purpose, action, growing ourselves to grow others. The bottom line, the KPI, the key performance indicator that will always keep us focused at the end of the day is our students. The outcome and success of our students. That's how we'll measure success along this journey. So, here we go. All right, and I promise there wasn't a wall or a cliff as we went forward there. But I couldn't be more excited and proud and energized as the start of the semester. I meant it in my email that I sent out on Monday. This is the most wonderful time of the year because we all believe in the transformational power of education. Thank you all very much and have a great day, and I'll hand it now to Carl and the team. Thanks. Do we want to... want to do questions now, or we want to do questions now? Okay, I'm getting hand signals. 10 minutes of questions, then we'll go into the ceremony. Okay, questions, and we got mics set up at each side. And anyone have any questions, comments? And do we have upstairs too also? Great. Questions? Comments? It was that clear. No. We're going to post this to the Performance Excellence webpage so you can look at the presentation, and certainly email, call us, let us know how I can communicate more effectively. There has to be a single question. Yay, here we go. Somebody's got a hand up. Come on up.
Okay, so I don't want to start out snarky the first time I meet you, but...
It's all good. Snark away.
I'm Janice Stern, and I'm snarky. So we have lines that are being vacated, that aren't being filled. We're trying to streamline. We're doing all of that. And yet we're hiring a new administrator, which will require new support staff. A few years ago, we did a study and just looked at the numbers, and we were hiring administrators. They were like proliferating. Proportionally, they were growing faster in number than faculty were. And every time we hire an administrator, there is also an additional support staff. And I just wanted to say, it's more of a comment, I guess, that I'm concerned about that. Because here we are saying, oh, figure out how you can handle your unit without some of these people that are leaving, right? But we're going to be hiring more people. Why can't we redirect some of the efforts of people who are already here to cover that office instead of hiring another person along with their entire staff?
Thank you for that question. I think that's a very, very fair question. And several things, and you know, you may or may not know this, but that comprehensive administrative review project I actually led for the University System of Georgia for 2 years as the steering committee chair. And so from a statistical standpoint, I do believe that was actually true pre-consolidation. Post-consolidation from an administrative expenditure standpoint, actually Georgia Southern is actually lower than the peer average. Now, it still is hard. Look, we're going to hire an associate vice president. That's not an inexpensive position. But strategically, our priorities and what we're trying to do as an institution, and this is where we just may not be in agreement, inclusive excellence is critical, that it becomes from a leadership aspect of everything we do at this institution, a welcoming environment that will then help recruit and retain not only faculty and staff that feel welcome in this community, but then students that feel welcome, and that perpetual balance of that will create more revenue in the long term. So from a prioritization standpoint, strategically, that's why this position, yes, adding another senior administrator that won't have a big support structure because it'll be tethered and will be efficient in the way we do that. So it's not coming with a big, administrative organizational structure around it that will cost more. But you're right, these are tough times and decisions and prioritization of how we do that. We have to look at how we can then enable ourselves to grow our way through it to be able to ensure that we're covering all those needs that we have. So that's on me. That's my decision and a strategic priority of which I feel like this institution has to move forward for that position, for us to build an environment that has inclusion as a centerpiece of who and what we are. As we move forward, though, I appreciate your voice and I want to hear it and I want to know on how we can help throughout the entirety of the institution. As we get through this wobble on budget, I think as we hit a growth trajectory for these next years, we'll be back in and filling those positions that are critical to our future. So, but thank you for that comment and the bravery to come up and say it. Thank you.
Question up here.
Hi, I'm Patsy Krager, Public and Nonprofit Studies, and Georgia Southern has recently received R2 status. And I love budgets, and it's great to hear that, but there is no discussion on the growth of a research budget, what that might look like, public-private partnerships, associations with National Science Foundation, et cetera. Could you address that for all of us who are interested in research as well as teaching? Thank you.
Yes. And that's part of the academic regional plan, really at the centerpiece of it, and Carl would probably speak more directly to it. But as we move forward, it's going to be a critical part of our growth, particularly logistics, IT, tech. If you can imagine what's happening in the port, the technology transfer opportunity, the opportunity to unite an I-16 corridor with talent development, and then really technology transfer, and those research opportunities are immense. So as we look to money that is already there in the regional academic plan, that's already been allocated, that's where those dollars are going to go. They aren't new now. They're ready then to bridge and elevate that portfolio. Now, our portfolio is not huge. I mean, we're doing about $12 million a year to $15 million a year in sponsored research. An R2 minimum is $5 million, so we're just over that threshold. An R1, to give you an example, an R1, Carnegie R1 minimum, I think Carl and I were looking at it before, we graduate enough PhDs. That's not the issue. We actually qualify on that level, but you need to be minimum somewhere around 60 to 70 or 80 million a year. So we have a long way to go on that, and we have to build that infrastructure as projects come along. Yes. One more.
Question up here.
Where's
on the
up?
balcony?
Oh, okay.
I'm Robert Costamiris in the Department of Literature.
Hey, Robert.
Again, it's another budgetary question, Governor Kemp is talking about cutting budgets in the coming years, 4%, then 6%. I frankly don't know why, but I imagine, or I wanted to know from you, are you getting wind of that? And how's that going to impact the future that you've outlined?
Thank you for that question. And this is good for you to walk away from information. That came, was it last Tuesday, Annalee? Yeah, last Tuesday, and we spent most of that night. I slept about 3 hours because I was pretty freaked out about it, to tell you the truth. It was unsettling, but understanding the priorities and what that meant from a revenue collection, what was happening. So what it is, at least as it stands now, is it's a 4% looking at this current year budget for governmental agencies that are non-formula funded based. Okay? We are formula funded, and so is K through 12. So at this point, at least at our level of institution, the two areas of dollars that we don't receive that are impacted that a university could receive are what's called B, as in the letter B, line funding, or special institutional funding, which is project-oriented. What's the exact name of it, Rob? Special Funding Initiative. Those are the two lines. There are some institutions in the university system that have that type of funding. The good news and the bad news is we don't have that. So for right now, the 4% and the 6% don't include us in this modeling. That's good news. But we're cautious and watching and to see what's happening. So as we move forward, that's why I say the disruption, to embrace that and understand we have our own issues to solve and move forward, but there may be something coming down the pike of which we don't see yet, Robert.
Okay.
All right. That's the most I know about it. Thanks. All right. Oh, time's up. All right, thank you all so much. I'm going to hand it back to my partner, Carl, to take us through the program, the opportunity to hear from our Faculty Senate Chair, from our Staff Advisory Chair, and our Student Government President, and our Faculty Awards, which I'm really excited about. So, Carl, all you. Thank you so much.
So I'm Carl Reiber, Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs. I probably have run into most of you at some point in time over this last year, but if not, I want to welcome you formally now that we're all here. That was an interesting drive from one campus to the next. I will say that it's great to have a president who has a performing arts background because he was able to step in and the show went on. So let's thank Kyle again. I'm going to truncate a few things here this afternoon. I'm not going to give any remarks because I feel like I really want to focus on some of the great people up here, and I want to focus on the faculty that are going to get the awards today. And so I want to be very, very brief, and basically I've said what I want to say. Welcome. Great year ahead of us. I think you've heard from the president in really outlining where we're going and the excitement that lays ahead of us. And good things are going to happen. Those are my remarks. So, what I would like to do is some introductions of leadership on campus, and then really have some nice remarks from folks that are sitting on the stage here that are really key players in how the institution is going to work this next year. So first, I do want to introduce the university leadership team, and those are the president's cabinet members and the deans. And I'm sure people are spread out everywhere, and so just stand up when I call your name, hold your applause until I introduce the cabinet, and then we'll switch over to the deans, and the deans can stand. So Mr. Tripp Addison, Vice President for University Advancement. Annalee Ashley, Chief of Staff and Director of External Relations. Mara Copeland, University Counsel. Tom Klein, Director of Athletics. I'm not sure he's here today. Oh, there he is. Okay. John Lester, Vice President for University Communications and Marketing. Scott Lingerl, Vice President for Enrollment Management. No pressure there. Melanie Miller, Interim Vice President for Student Affairs. Ron Stallnacker, Chief Information Officer. And Rob Whitaker, Vice President for Business and Finance, but he had to get to a board meeting and just left 2 seconds ago, his regrets. So thanks to all of those folks for their leadership efforts. And our second group of institutional leaders are our deans, our academic deans. And again, I'll have the deans stand as I call their name and applause at the end. Alan Omsen, Dean of the Parker College of Business. Lysindra Carmichael, Dean of the University Libraries. I'm not sure she made it. She was, oh, there she is. There we go. A new dean of libraries. Great ideas. I really look forward to moving out with the libraries. Dean Bede Mitchell laid a great foundation, and Lysindra Carmichael is going to really take us to the next level. Mohammed Dawood, the Dean of Alan E. Paulson College of Engineering. Is Mohammed in the back over here? Yes. Amy Heaston, Interim Dean of the College of Education. I think she was up top somewhere. I know she was here. There we go. Barry Joyner, Dean of Waters College of Health Professions. Delana Nevins, Dean of the College of Science and Mathematics. Curtis Raker, Dean of College of Arts and Humanities. Ryan Schroeder, Dean of the College of Business and Behavioral and Social Science, new, a few weeks in. Stuart Tetters, Interim Dean of the Jingping Tsu College of Public Health. And Ashley Walker, the new Dean of the Jack N. Averett College of Graduate Studies. Thank you all for your hard work and efforts. And finally, I'd like to ask all of the new faculty and staff to Georgia Southern University to stand and be recognized. You've really come to a special place. We welcome you. I look forward to getting to know each of you. As many of you know, I'm at Starbucks early in the morning. You can always come over and talk to me. It's now time to hear greetings from some very special leaders. These are people who have stepped up to the plate in various ways to lead the institution. They don't do it for money. They do it because they love the institution and they want to advance what we're doing in meaningful ways. And so I'm going to introduce the three of them very quickly, and then they're going to come up and give remarks. So Professor Helen Bland, President of the Faculty Senate. Ms. Ava Edwards, Chair of the Staff Council. And Mr. Juwan Smith, Student Government Association President. Can Professor Bland come up and give remarks?
Good afternoon. All right, that's a reply. I want to say thanks for staying. I mean, we aren't the main show here, so thanks for staying. Faculty, welcome back. I hope each one of you found time to relax, unplug, and spend meaningful time away from work. This is such an exciting time for our university as we move forward to create our new normal. I'm honored to be part of you. I see your extraordinary dedication to the students here at Georgia Southern University. Dr. Marrero and Dr. Reiber, on behalf of the faculty, I would like to say that your boundless optimism and unbridled energy are timely and welcome. Thank you. They have asked me to say a few remarks. Don't they know that faculty only speak in 50-minute increments? I can't do it. Okay, over the past years, we've seen dramatic shifts in higher education. We as faculty have always taken on the challenge to produce students that become productive professionals in work environments that we can't even imagine because they don't currently exist anymore. To further complicate our jobs and tasks, today we're asked to go beyond our normal comfort zones of teaching, research, and service. We are now expected to be part of our fiscal sustainability of this institution. We hear words like enrollment, yield rates, shrinking demographics, I only know one way to change that. Accessibility and consumer service model. All of this is parents and prospective students are choosing colleges based on return on investment rate. These students, known as Generation Z, they are characterized as technology savvy. They've never known a world without the internet. They're entrepreneurial, they're independent. They dumped the helicopter parents a long time ago. If you're still doing that, you're out of vogue. They're climate conscious and they're master multitaskers. Some of the data that I've been reading, their average attention span is 8 seconds. They've already gone on to Ava's talk over there a long time ago. No wonder why the recent national data says that this is one of the most stressful times to be a faculty member. Me, when I got hold of the academic paper, I flipped to the methodology section. I thought, surely they interviewed us here at Georgia Southern over the past 2 years. But no, it seems to be a natural trend. So as we begin our academic year, with these new realities, I want to challenge you to make a conscious decision to move forward with courage and optimism. And I want us to stick to what we know is true. We all know that we chose Georgia Southern because we believe that in some small part, we can make the world a better place. To that end, what we do every single day matters. Secondly, the best career advice I got as a new faculty, it was wonderful seeing you all stand up, those who are joining us this year, was from our administrative assistant. I was in the Department of Health and Kinesiology. She's still here, her name's Jody Rushing. She talked to me and she said, Helen, kind of patient with me, Helen, people will not care about how much you know until they know how much you care. It's true, she's right. And I would be amiss if I didn't pause for a second here and ask and give my heartfelt thank you to the staff here at Georgia Southern. You prop us up. You prop us up. You make our jobs easier. And me, dare I be so bold to say you make our jobs possible. Thank you. Couldn't do it without you. Lastly, I bought a present for Dr. Marrero and Dr. Reiber. I've checked with legal and foundational. They don't have to pay taxes on it. It's a simple tin cup. No, I'm not going to pass it around to get a collection for our merit equity thing. But this cup has 3 words on it. The words are always half full. And so I'm going to use this as a visual reminder over the next year as we navigate challenges because of shared governance, that my promise to you, our promise, our premise, our philosophical frame of reference is always have full. Have a great year. Looking forward to it.
Good afternoon. My name is Ava Edwards, and I have the privilege to serve as Chair of Staff Council for the 2019-2020 term. I've been fortunate to be a proud staff member of the Eagle Nation for the past 8 years and am an alumni of the Parker College of Business. I've often been asked, as I'm sure you have as well, by some of our students, why higher education, Miss Ava? You can't get rich in higher education, right? Followed by, and why is Georgia Southern so special? For me, the sense of pride here at Georgia Southern is unlike any other university. It's heard in every hail Southern. It's seen in the details of the landscaping that makes our campuses breathtakingly beautiful, and felt at the close of the day when you know you've made a positive impact in the student's life and supported the mission of this great university. Ultimately, if you ask any staff member, regardless of campus, you'll find a commonality of shared experiences that fuels and undergirds our passion to support our students and partner with faculty and administration. It's for this reason that the 26 members of Staff Council and I are proud to be the representative body for the over 1,900 staff. Staff Council works to promote programs that enhance the personal and professional well-being of staff, their vocational and educational development, and to recognize staff's contributions and support for the mission of Georgia Southern. This year, with President Marrero's support, Staff Council is excited to bring new professional development initiatives coupled with engagement opportunities to all staff. As these exciting events are announced, please join us. Also, we invite you to attend our monthly Staff Council meetings, which are open to all staff. We welcome all of your feedback and want to partner with you. So to those of you returning, welcome back. And to our staff that are new here for the first time, welcome to Georgia Southern. Welcome to the Eagle Nation. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Juwan Smith, and I'm the current SGA president. And as we know, we're in a special season in the life of our university, as we have students continuing and beginning their studies with Georgia Southern. It is equally special for you as faculty and staff to celebrate the investments you make in educating our students to compete in the global marketplace. As the Student Government Association president, supporting your endeavors in any way possible is important to me. My hope is this coming year is to make progress on a number of efforts that improve the experience students are having at Georgia Southern in the areas of campus safety, advocacy, relationship, equity, and sustainability. We hope to give a voice to those students who need to be seen, represent those who bring ideas to help our university operate more efficiently, and build relationships that foster a spirit of learning and inclusion in the Statesboro, Hinesville, and Savannah communities. Our focus on accomplishing the priorities laid out by SGA will be guided and shaped by the university's strategic plan and the guiding principles, values, and vision of Georgia Southern. With any aspiration, those are only successful by first remembering the academic mission of our institution is preeminent. Our students rise because of the support they receive from dedicated faculty and staff like each one of you in this room. Thank you for your many hours of instruction, mentoring, planning, and expertise you give to our student body. Well, let me back up. Thank you for your many hours of instruction and mentoring you give day in, day out. And as a student who may have benefited from some of the faculty in this room, thank you. Thank you for investing in me. And thank you for seeing potential in those of us who can lose focus, hope, and motivation. Thank you for inspiring us to be learners in and outside of the classroom while challenging us to see the world with imagination. It's truly a collective effort that takes our students from orientation to graduation. Student success is a common thread with each one of us. I desire to lead SGA under the banner of 1S Georgia Southern University was celebrating the uniqueness of each one of our campuses. Continually stressing the importance to our students that while they may call one campus their primary location to take classes, their home is on all three. We hope to further invest in Eagles for Eagles and open doors to the Armstrong students in this critical assistance program for students experiencing financial hardships. Inclusive excellence is not just a catchphrase, but a calling that all of us should champion. It will be the goal of SGA to create an LGBTQ plus committee that aims to serve these students' voices and allies to ensure that Georgia Southern is home for many. Community engagement is critical for our students to better understand a changing and global world so that their civic and social responsibilities are keenly sharpened during the years at Southern. SGA wants to help students know more on the benefits of studying abroad while also feeling the impact they can have by contributing to meaningful service for those in our region. In closing, please don't hesitate to call on me as we begin this new year full of promise and opportunity. Thank you again for the contributions all of you have made in the lives of students through your teaching, research, and service, as well as the many hours spent supporting, programming, leading, and developing the students of Georgia Southern. Congratulations on today's faculty staff convocation, and go Eagles.
All right, those were just perfect remarks from all three of you, and thank you so much for the time and effort you've put into the university and that you will put into the university this next year. The next part of our program is really my favorite, and that is the presentation of faculty awards, because the faculty just work so hard and are so deserving of these awards. But I want to set the stage for the awards today, because we're going to change them a little bit over time. There's a long and very proud history on both campuses of faculty awards. And we will continue that, but what we would also like to do, there was something missing that I noted when I got here, and that is that we don't celebrate some of the milestones in faculty career accomplishments. So we don't celebrate as a community tenure and promotion. We don't celebrate the 5-year reviews that faculty go through. And so I have tasked my office to put together a celebration a bit later on in this semester. We're looking for late September, early October, where we can invite all the faculty who have received awards here, but also those that were tenured, promoted, or have gone through a 5-year evaluation to celebrate that accomplishment. It's a major milestone that we need to really recognize, and we want to make sure that family and friends are invited to that reception as well. So we're going to change with time. We're going to do the October celebration, but then the president has tasked the university to come up with a faculty and staff awards ceremony that would happen in April. And I like that timing because it's right after the tenure and promotion cycle for faculty, where you're still very proud of your accomplishments. It's still ringing in everyone's ears. And so in April, we will also have a celebration, and then every April thereafter to really celebrate in the way we should and should always. Now, it's our distinct pleasure to acknowledge the 2019 and 2020 faculty award winners. We're going to have the recipients move up this direction to the stairs and come up to the stage to receive their awards. And we have them. Now, we've split the presentation of awards between the two campuses, and so there were a number this morning, but I'm going to call out everyone because it doesn't matter what campus you're on. What matters is how hard you work to be recognized. But those that are in the audience here can come up, they'll receive their award from the president, and then at the end of the award ceremony can move off to the side for a group photo. So, the Christina Brockmeyer Award is presented to an Armstrong faculty member who is recognized and is an outstanding teacher who has made significant contributions to the university and its students. This year, we recognize Kurt Knoll from the College of Arts and Humanities. The Judge Ron Ginsburg Faculty Excellence Award recognizes the overall outstanding face-to-face, online, or blended teaching of one full-time Armstrong faculty member. This year we recognize Tracy Ness, College of Math and Science and Mathematics. The award for Distinguished Faculty Service to the University recognizes the university faculty members' academic expertise in ways that benefit the general welfare and greater good of our university. This year, we recognize Dr. Jennifer Zettler, College of Science and Mathematics. The award for Distinguished Faculty Service to the Community recognizes the use of faculty members' academic expertise in ways that benefit the community or the general public. This year we recognize Doug Massini, Waters College of Health Professions, and Dr. Christopher Hendricks, College of Arts and Humanities. The Award for Excellence in Service is designed to recognize and reward faculty who use their academic disciplines to provide non-compensated assistance to the region as well as to the academic community. This year we recognize Dr. Lisa Costello, Arts and Humanities. Additionally, we recognize Ms. Donna Munax of the College of Science and Mathematics. The Award for Excellence in Contributions to Instruction is not an award for the best or most popular teacher, but an effort to honor contributions to teaching learning process at the institutional level. The recipient must have demonstrated excellence in the classroom and beyond. This year we recognize two individuals, Dr. Tracy Ness, College of Science and Mathematics, and Dr. Diana Batnara, Waters College of Health Professions. And last, the Award for Excellence in Research and Creative Scholarly Activities recognizes persons who excel in their research and creative efforts in addition to fulfilling their regular full-time teaching responsibilities. This year we recognize two individuals, Dr. Ji Wu, College of Science and Mathematics, and Dr. John Van Stan, College of Science and Mathematics. You want to do the group photo? Yeah. Yeah. Please join me in another round of applause for this year's recipients. Now, if we'd stuck to script, this is when I would be introducing President Marrero. But I don't think we're going to recycle. I think we're so what I would like to do to end today's convocation is to, one, thank you for your flexibility and patience with the change in the schedule a little bit. I would like to thank our president for being very flexible, nimble on his feet, so to speak. I think, didn't the three of us decide we're going to tap dance? Yeah. That's right. But I want to thank our president. He started April 1st and has hit the ground running, has just been doing a great job. I think brings a whole new dimension to Georgia Southern University and is really pulling together the entire institution and community as a team where we all are working together to make our mission happen, which is really to impact the lives of our students and our community members in a positive way. And so thank you, President Marrero, and thank all of you for coming today. I know that you're incredibly busy. With the start of the semester, you're getting your classes ready to go, you're setting up labs, you're doing studio work, getting ready to really start the academic year off, and this takes time out of that. But I think it's important, one, to hear the vision of the institution, but also to recognize the important work that individuals do across the campus and continue to recognize that. So thank you very much, and have a great afternoon.